Hey everybody, back again for another Bands Beers FPL after another exciting week in the FPL world. So yeah, you can follow us on at Bands Beers FPL or one word. That's at Bands Beers FPL or word on Twitter.
And on YouTube as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Brilliant. So we've got again kind of mixed results, mixed bag of results for this week. So we'll start off with the band. So this week it's up to me to pick a band out. So it's not technically a band, it's a rapper. So a guy called Little Dicky, big fan. Some of his newer stuff's gone a bit too pop, Freaky Friday, Earth are a bit mainstream for me, but some of the older stuff like Save That Money, Professional Rapper, Ex-Boyfriend, absolutely brilliant. There's one of his best songs, a song called Russell Westbrook on a Farm, and it just shows like everybody views him this sort of comedy rapper, but in reality he's unbelievably good. Like great flow, just a brilliant, really good technique. Can't recommend him enough. Also, his songs are pretty hilarious, which is obviously good. So if I was going to recommend one song just to start you off, it'd be Professional Rapper, which is I think number 5 on his Spotify list.
Yep.
Yeah, check that out. Brilliant, awesome. And also Save That Money. He's absolutely brilliant. There's another song called Let Me Freak, which is pretty hilarious about being a boyfriend and the travails of that. But he's just really hard to define, but he's a hilarious Jewish rapper. Great comedy, but he's also a really good rapper as well. So skill, comedy, and technique.
Nice. I like it, man. I think I've checked a couple of songs out after you mentioned them a while ago, so I'll need to listen a bit more. But look at those Spotify numbers, man. Like, that's insane. So he's obviously wasn't doing well, man. That's cracking. Well, I suppose the song with Chris Brown, that's taking a popular song or the mainstream song you're talking about, but
yeah. I was going to say I definitely view him on YouTube. Some of the videos on YouTube are absolutely brilliant. There's a video for Ex-Boyfriend, which is hilarious. Let Me Freak is hilarious as well. He's just really good comedy rap. Once you get into him, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll absolutely love him. You'll all be raving about him the same way that I do.
Little Dicky. I like it.
Yeah, he's also got a TV show called Dave, which is worth checking out if you want to start off with that instead of down straight in. Another kind of comedy show, and in the vein of like Childish Gambino's sort of Atlanta, really funny, kind of dark comedy. What about beer this week? You got anything exciting?
Beer's okay for me. I've got 2 little Vault Cities sitting here, 2 because I just drank one. I'm going to drink the other one. So I just had the Valencia Orange 4.7.
Nice.
Very exactly what you would expect to be, just like super fruity, just like orange juice, but a little bit sour. But what am I buzzing to try? You mentioned it recently that they were making this, the Iron Brew Extra Sour, 8% this time. I can't remember what the last one was, maybe 6.
Nowhere near as high.
The Iron Brew Sour, that again, this is Vault City from Edinburgh, I believe, isn't it? Yeah. So I'm buzzing to try this because the last one, it was just like a big sour boozy IPA, boozy Iron Brew. So exactly as what I expected. That does not taste like 8%. Pretty sour, pretty tart, but it's got a pure amazing Iron Brew taste. Like it tastes like that fake Iron Brew that you would get in like a wee supermarket, like a 19 pence 2 litre bottle Iron Brew. So no, that's amazing, man. Highly recommended. Vault City Iron Brew.
Love it. Looking forward to trying it. So yeah, I've got another Scottish legendary beer. I don't know if you can see
Yes,
the camera.
nice.
But, Cafe Racer from Fierce, Aberdeen-based brewer, sort of the heirs to the Aberdeen throne after Brewdog. Doing some really great beers. Cafe Racers won Scottish Beer Awards, like best porter for a good couple of years. Cracking beer, takes a lot of awards. So yeah, big vanilla porter, absolutely stunning. Can't recommend that enough. Only 6.5%, which is good. Not too. I mean, it's still quite high, but not as high as like say a 7 or 8%.
That's you switching to the darker beers now that the sunny weather's gone and it's pissing down at the second.
That's it. See, everybody complaining about the hot weather now. It's pissing rain up here, so I had to go dark with that. But I spotted it in where did I spot? I can't remember where I spotted it, but I had to have a can. I've not had a can in a while, and it's one of the vanilla porters that I really enjoy.
This is just like juice, man. I love it. Dangerous.
All right, so jump into FPL. So game week 2. How did you get on? Mine was okay. say just above average, which I'm rolling on with again. But you've done quite well, eh?
Yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, this shared ice screen. Look at my team. Yeah, it was decent. I think I tried to set myself a little bit of a higher target this week of about 80 points. I got 71. I think that was maybe down to Haaland not really setting the world alight. So I was 50-50 between Salah and Haaland being my captain. Went for Haaland feeling like that was the safer bet, even though my gut was thinking Salah was going to go bananas against Crystal Palace. So whenever Haaland only got 1 assist and got 5 points, I was a bit terrified, but worked out well. So Salah only got 2 points. Yeah, still pretty happy with the team.
By the way, I was going to say I want credit for talking you out of moving that to Salah, by the way, because I think you might have moved that to Salah by yourself if I hadn't talked you out of it.
The gut was on him, but I just had a bad feeling. I think because it's so early in the season, I knew Haaland was going to be so highly captained that I thought it's a risk, even though I thought Salah's going to be a big differential captain for a change. So I'm glad that I went with the crowd instead of the gut this time, even though I always shout about going for the gut. So another disappointing one from Mason Mount. I thought Chelsea played really, really well in that game. They deserved to win it. I'm glad James got me some points. I was kind of worried there. Obviously, the clean sheet was gone. He scored the goal, and then I would have thought he was going to get credited an own goal for that Harry Kane header coming off him before it went in. So to get 7 points from him again this week, I'm quite happy with. Another good showing from Trippier. Cancelo, the Cancelo versus Walker debate at the start is obviously showing that Cancelo's been the right pick so far. He's got 18 points compared to Walker's 12, I think. So Bailey, obviously that punt at the start of the season turned into a bit of a problem. He only came on for like 15 minutes. He looked quite sharp, but just didn't really set the world on fire at all. Happy with Martinelli, another goal, 2 goals. And then Gabriel Jesus, like unbelievable haul, but obviously like 90% of the game pretty much happened anyway, so didn't have the desired effect on the ranking and stuff. So disappointed to lose the clean sheet points with Ramsdale, but it is what it is. Like Leicester are a good team. So overall, pretty happy. 1.5 million, 71. Yeah, could have been much better if Haaland had done what we expect him to do. But yeah, pretty happy with that. We look at your team.
Cool. Yeah, sadly.
Right, let's find you. Show me the money. Where are you? Oh, we go. You got a green arrow. You didn't do too bad, man. You're setting it up as if you've done terribly. Like you get 7 points less than me, so it's not awful.
No, I'm not. Like I think I'm quite happy. I had set my kind of target for at least if I could get 120, 130 points in the first 2 weeks, I'd be happy with that. I mean, obviously I'd want more, but I can't complain. It's not been amazing, but yeah, pretty solid. Good returns from the players I was expecting returns from. The Cancelo choice was a tough one. I shouldn't have left him out. I knew he was going to punish me, and sure enough, over the past 2 weeks he has. Bit disappointed with the Martinelli swing. I had assumed that he would be a 1 week, wonder. Seems he's turning into a 2 week wonder. It could be a 3 week at this rate. But yeah, I thought Saka would be the one that would be returning the points in that midfield, but it's just not happened. Mount's disappointing, but I still think he'll come good. I'm not overly fussed about moving him out or getting frustrated with him just yet. I think he'll do okay. And yeah, Bailey, everybody took that punt. We were all looking for like that kind of cheap midfielder. We all bought into the excitement. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. I'm really glad Rico Henry's keeping to pay off. I just want him to get a decent attacking return. But yeah, he's 2 weeks in a row. He's done really well. I was hoping he would have got more in that Man United game. The 4-0 drubbing. What more could you expected? But yeah, great fixtures coming up. Solid player, gets attacking returns. I can see him getting on the attacking return sheet quite soon. So yeah, quite happy. I mean, overall, the captaincy choice was a tough one. We both debated about Haaland versus Salah. I did at one point in my brain have Jesus because I knew he was going to come good. Didn't expect him to come that good. But yeah, I really wish I'd maybe been a wee bit braver. But these are the kind of fine margins. Still start of the season. It's a marathon, not a sprint, as I keep telling everybody. It'll come good. The team will start clicking. My big debate is going to be when we talk about transfers because the team could do with a little tinkering, but I'm also not 100% overly enthusiastic about tinkering too much. So a wee bit of debate, a wee bit of chat to have about that when we get to the transfer section, which I think we should go to now. I think we'll go straight to you first, though, because I think you've made a fairly early move. You were quite happy to switch it straight away. So talk us through your transfer.
Indeed. Went for a very obvious, well, not a very obvious one, but one that a lot of people are doing is I got rid of Leon Bailey, as everyone's doing, for Pascal Gross, or Grob, as we're seeing on Twitter. Gross, obviously we were talking about Brighton a lot pre-season, but mainly focusing on the likes of Trossard, who's playing in the sort of wing-back position. I didn't really expect Pascal Gross to be coming into our thoughts this early. The haul against Man United, some people might be thinking that's a bit of a fluke, but I really don't see it being it. He's still going to be on penalties because Mopé's not involved, and he's playing really high up the pitch. So I just think if we looked at like the stats and stuff, like his expected goals and involvement and assists and stuff are pretty high for a player from Brighton. So I thought it was a no-brainer. I had a little bit of money in the bank. I think I had $1 million left in the bank. So I had some options. I couldn't quite get to Rodrigo from Leeds. Very keen on him. Maybe not this week playing at home at Chelsea, but I think he is another option I'll be looking at. But Gross, I really wanted to get into that Brighton team. Like we were talking about last week as well, Brentford are another team I was really looking forward to try to get someone into my team, but there's no one in that price range for Brentford that I really sort of wanted and trusted. Costa Silva being one that's getting transferred in like mad just now. He's had 2 shots in 2 games and both of them have gone in. He's not been getting many touches in the box. He's not nailed on for his position. He's got a lot of competition there. So even though he's 4.6 million, I just think he's a little bit of a trap. So he wasn't on my radar. I think Damsgaard might be at some point, but if I was going to go for anyone from Brentford, it would be one of the defenders like Henry or me, or try and get to Ivan Toney somehow. So it was either Brentford or Brighton I wanted in that position, and I had to be Brighton, and Gross was the pick. So I've gone with him. Kind of a little bit tempted to move on Trippier, but I think I'm going to hold him. Like the 2 fixtures here, even Wolves away kind of concerns me a little bit, and Palace at home, I think Palace can score there. So he's on my radar for the next one maybe to go. Like I've seen a lot of people taking hits this week, and I'm kind of tempted, but I don't think I will. It's a bit too early, so I think I'll leave the team as it is with Gross, and that'll be the starting 11. Patterson in instead of Trippier. Don't expect him to keep a clean sheet at home to Man City. Captain debate we can have later on. It's certainly not nailed on Salah whatsoever. It's just sitting there. So that's what we're looking at. Yeah, just simple one transfer. Gross will stay in the team for a little while. Glad to get Bailey gone. He was a mistake. But I think it's set up pretty well. Quite like the fixtures, even though most of them are all away fixtures. The team looks pretty set up.
Interesting you should mention Rodrigo. I know you've got him on your plans and stuff like that, but I've seen a few Leeds players talking about it on Leeds fans, talking about him on Twitter, and they seem to be of the opinion that he's not going to be in the team going forward a lot, because you obviously get guys like Sinisterra coming back, a few other attackers. So I would be wary. Rodrigo's one that I like, and I have liked since the start of the season. I remember mentioning him, I think it was the first video, but he's one that you should keep an eye on, but just be wary of. He could end up being one of those players that ends up being a trap. Also interesting, you should mention De Silva. A lot of people quite keen on him, but again, I'm nervous about the stats. Don't really back up his performances. If you look at that Man United goal, De Gea should have saved that. If De Gea saves that, he doesn't get any returns, and there are people looking at him in this quite the same way. Is he nailed on? I think a lot of people would say yes, but and he is a cheap way to get into that Brentford attack, which going forward should continue its rich vein of form. But yeah, I'm a bit skeptical of players like that they'll get goals 2 weeks running and then the stats that don't back up. Martinelli for me maybe been that at the start of the season, but he seems to, in game week 2, has really picked up again, and the stats are beginning to match with his return. So I wouldn't be as worried about Martinelli, but yeah, De Silva, maybe Rodrigo's another one to watch for that kind of stuff. He tends to, gets the goals over 2 weeks, but it's, one shot, 1 goal. So I would just be wary of keeping an eye on players like that, keep an eye on the stats, look at going forward what our fixtures are. This isn't talking to you, obviously talking to everybody else, but you'll know. But it's just an interesting one. It's one of the talking points that I really wanted to mention to you about. So you're pretty set in your team then, you're quite happy with that. If we go back to my team, even if we just go to the points.
I just want to add something to what you were just saying there. Matthias Jensen I had lined up here that I just wanted to talk about. He's been transferred in by so many people this week because he got 14 points against Man United. He's quite a deep-lying midfielder. I just think people need to be wary. It's the same thing you were saying about De Silva. It's a bit of a fluke, I think. Like last season, he played 35 games. He got 2 assists, no goals. It's just one of those freaky games that Man United played so terribly that just the unexpected players pop up to get assists and goals, like N'Golo Kante or some like Xhaka got goals at the weekend as well. People are transferring him in, so it's just like be wary of that. Like, don't just look at the last week's score and think they're going to be brilliant this week and this season. So he's a real trap, I think, as well. Like that, 170,000 people have transferred him in. Well, nearly 600,000 people have put in De Silva as well. So there's a lot of moves being made, just reactional knee jerks. I think that you need to.
Yeah, I mean the converse side of that obviously is that when a player's in form, and they will get a goal over a couple of weeks. And the trick is to catch these players, but mostly when those players do that, their stats will back it up. So you'll notice that a player's coming onto form, they'll score, they'll be around the box. You know, Jesus is a perfect example. Watching his game week 1 performance, you know, a lot of people were frustrated, but everybody could see how sharp he was. You know, his touches were great. He was in the box. He was creating chances. Going forward into game week 2, he explodes. You know what I mean? And I think that'll carry forward. So, yeah, it's okay to do that, to look at form, but also be careful and try and back it up with the stats. Especially if it's a player you're hoping to keep for a couple of weeks. You don't really want to transfer them in and then suddenly you're trapped and having to get rid of them the next week. Yeah, so for me, I'm not sure what I'm going to do in my squad, actually. I'm kind of keen on maybe trying to roll the transfer over. So obviously I would be dropping Bailey to the bench, and then I've got the debate in my head between, you know, do I put in Pereira or even, you know, French Eddie. He's playing against Aston Villa. Nico Williams is the player I've currently got in because he's playing against Everton, and Everton do not have a striker. So especially if Chelsea buy Anthony Gordon, that'll be another loss. So, you know, Nico Williams could be great because he could get a clean sheet and get attacking returns. So currently he's the one I've got in replacing Bailey, and then I'm quite happy to sit with 5 at the back, 3 in the middle and 2 up front. That would leave me with Salah, Mount, Saka in the midfield, fairly decent picks with 5 at the back. So quite chuffed with that. Sanchez, I'm not sure who he's got this week, but there's a debate in my head between having Sanchez and Ward this week, but I can't even bring myself to put a Leicester player on my team because they're just not, they're shipping goals like nobody's business. But yeah, Sanchez has got West Ham this week. I'm a bit nervous about that, but I still think probably the best choice. I know people can rotate this season because Ward's obviously a good option, but yeah, I just don't trust that Leicester defence. You know, shipped 4 at the weekend, 2 the weekend before that. I can tell you for one, I am absolutely ecstatic that I didn't go for the fall for that Ward Everson's rotation trap that a lot of people have been putting in. Yeah, so quite happy. I think I might just play Nico Williams over Bailey and drop Bailey to the bench and then just roll my transfer, and that gives me 2 to play with next week for any kind of major surgeries going forward.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean it's still early in the season, and I think like I've been you know run about 65 points both weeks. It's fairly decent. I can't really complain. You know, I'm not massively high up in the leagues, but the points between me and some of the leagues, you know, it's only like 10, 15 points between me and first place. So quite happy just to roll it and see how it goes. I've got to have faith and keep the squad kind of together. I mean, I had to make that transfer last week between Kane and Haaland, and that didn't really pay off that well. So I think this maybe not tinker, not knee jerk, and just let it roll. Bailey could become a problem, but for now I'm quite happy to put him on the bench. You know, I'm happy with Pereira. French Eddie has a chance to come good. Crystal Palace's fixtures could swing, and he seems to be getting more games this season. So hopefully, yeah, you can see. Obviously, that Brentford is probably the game that maybe not as clean cut as before. Newcastle and Man United, you know, not bad. Good chances to get some goals there. So
definitely
options to come off the bench. Thankfully, I've played it safe and kept quite a tight bench. So yeah, I'm quite happy just to roll the transfer this week, I think.
Yeah, man, there's no need to panic. I think I wanted to get Bailey out before his price drop. I'm quite keen to try and get a good bit of team value if I can for whenever a wild card, just to have those extra little bits little bit of money there, but there's no need to really panic on him. You've got other players there that can step in for him. Nico Williams is a great asset to have this week. He was so good against West Ham. I thought, like, so many balls into the box. Like, it's just a matter of time before he gets an attacking return. I've got Patterson as my 4 million defender, and my girlfriend, she's got Nico and Patterson, sort of like wondering who to pick, not wanting to play the two of them. If I had the two of them, I would go Nico Williams because, like you said, Everton just don't have much of a hope up top just now. Like, Rondon, basically, Dele Alli looks like he's going out. Gordon's probably not going to be playing if he's still a big transfer speculation. Maybe he might be playing, I don't know. I just don't see where the goals are coming for them. And they did look good at the back as well for us with their wing backs against West Ham. So I think he's going to be a great asset. I picked Patterson at the start just thinking Everton were going to be quite good, and he looked good in pre-season, but in hindsight I wish I'd gone for Nico Williams. So yeah, I think he's a good shout to bring in. Play your back five, your three, and your two strikers, and then you've got Edward and Andreas on the bench if anything goes wrong with your players. So yeah, I think I agree with the Sanchez shout, definitely.
I mean, I think I'm one of those players that, you know, I don't obviously, I'm not adverse to playing a five at the back, because I do think if you can get some clean sheets in there, it's quick points, you know. So I do fancy, you know, City to have a clean sheet. Are Leeds going to score against Chelsea? Probably not. Liverpool should return another clean sheet. You know, Henry, I do fancy, if not to get a clean sheet, to get attacking returns. And again, with Nico Williams, you know, even if they don't get a clean sheet, is there a possibility of attacking returns against Everton? Most definitely. So, so yeah, quite comfortable with that. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think that's my plan. If you guys think that that's mental, let us know in the comments below. You've got my team there. Feel free to give me the better advice. Quite happy to listen to suggestions. Probably need it, to be honest, when I start to the season. So yeah. So what about captaincy? So obviously we're going to have the three-way debate. I'm going to go three-way debate again. So same three players as last week, pretty much. I don't think there's anybody else entering into our thoughts, but yeah, Jesus, Haaland or Salah. What's the thoughts? You've got Salah just now. I'm keen on Salah. Just going to give you a quick reason for that in a minute. Is just that I think with Nunez's moment of madness, they're going to need somebody playing through the middle, and I think that's going to bring Salah into the middle again, which is where he likes to be, and I think he plays much better. He seems to be quite wide this season. That's why he's not getting many returns. But imagine if they play him through the centre, that he'll get some points. So especially against that Man United team, man, they look absolutely terrible. So yeah, I'm kind of swinging towards Salah. That's my kind of thoughts at the moment.
Me too. I think so. Yeah, like I had an instant worry just thinking with no Darwin, and then Firmino, I don't know what his fitness status is, but obviously there's no Jota either. So, but even if it was Salah and Luis Diaz, and then I don't know if they play Harvey Elliott further forward, or doesn't matter. Like Salah and Diaz are enough to tear Man United apart. They're that bad. I know Liverpool have got a little bit of problems even in the defence and midfield, so it's not full strength Liverpool, but I just think anyone can come up against that Man United team and get them just now. So I think Salah for me is edging it at the moment. Jesus last week, the whole Arsenal team last week looked so good. So I mean, he's probably my second choice. Haaland, the only reason I'm putting him third is because Newcastle have looked great. Two clean sheets in 2 games. I don't expect him to beat Man City or anything, but I expect him to give him a good game. So he's not really on my radar. I have been seeing quite a few people going for James, or even Cancelo. Like, it's bold to go for a defender. I don't think I've got the balls to do it, but I like it because James looked so good last week, and he was switching between the right centre back and the right wing back, and him and Cancelo, or him and Cucurella going forward together. I just think he's potential for a big haul this week, but it's just I don't know. Leeds can score a goal and it ruins it all for you. That just I don't have it in me to do it.
I'm going to say one thing, and that's the Trent triple captain decision that I made last season, which is now put me off defending.
It's scary.
I mean, don't get there's going to be a point when I maybe captain a defender, because I think like that clean sheet steal, if you can get that clean sheet with your captain straight from the off plus an attacking return, it's a no-brainer. But I just think this week it's Salah's going up against Man United, man. Like, what more do you want? Do you know what I mean? Like, that Man United team is a bomb scare at the minute. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they'll be anywhere near as bad as they were against Brentford, but I cannot see past him. With regards to Jesus, I think Bournemouth might end up being similar to what they did against Man City in the last game, where they kind of, really overly marked Haaland. I think they might do the same with Jesus, which is good news for the midfielders. I think Martinelli and Saka and stuff will get good returns, but I think they might put pressure on Jesus. It seems to be where they're playing. Haaland against Everton, I do like Haaland, but I think like you mentioned, Newcastle played really well. The only thing I would say is against Brighton, they did concede some really big chances. And if Brighton had been on slightly better attacking form, then I think they might have punished them. So I think, it's interesting. Is this the poll we've got?
Yeah, so we done this the other day, this poll on our Twitter the other day, and look, you can see how close it is. It's 36.7% for Salah and 40% for Jesus. 50 votes, it's not mega, but it just sort of shows you there that Haaland's not really in that many people's thinking. It is between Salah, who is the old trustable against an awful defence and awful team just now, and then Jesus, who's obviously got that huge haul last week. He looked brilliant in the first week, even though he didn't get a return, and he's playing a newly promoted team. But I think if we had a bigger portion of people voting on here, it would probably sway to Salah a bit. And also we've got some people saying other, and nobody's commented. Right, what's that all about? Like, I want to know who these others are. Like, is it Reece James? Is it Cancelo? Are people going
others? Let us know.
So, maybe people, anyone that's got Diaz, that would be a good shout, because there's quite a few people who haven't gone Salah and they've compensated by having like Trent, Robertson, and Diaz. So maybe Diaz is a wee left field shout. So I would like that.
Good work. The only thing I'm worried here is I'm seeing that Madison's trending. That made me panic a wee bit about where he's going, but I've had a wee look and it's not anything mental. I think it's just people talking about the Gibbs White transfer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which is blowing my mind, by the way. Like, I can't get over the idea of Gibbs White going for 44 million.
Yeah, I don't rate him as highly as that, but we'll see. Forest are really reaching for the sky, man. Like 20 signings or something. So
I wonder whether that's going to transfer into FPL value from 44 million. Whether that puts his price at a pretty exciting price, but we'll see what happens. Yes. Captaincy we've talked a lot about. So I think I'm going to go Salah. I just think it's probably the safest. One other thing I just kind of want to quickly brief on just before we kind of carry on, but the debate Haaland versus Kane at the minute, it seems to be rumbling on. Kane scoring at the weekend, late header. Has that changed your opinion? Are you quite happy with Haaland, or what do you think? Would you be interested in switching to Kane at this point in time? Or not asking you to do a transfer at the minute, but if you had a free transfer and you could make the move quite effortlessly without it affecting your team, what would be your thoughts?
No, it's tough, man. Obviously, Spurs have got some good fixtures coming up. I'm quite like you. You've said before, like every time I've got Harry Kane, man, he just burns me. I just don't get the returns from him. I just don't pick him at the right times when he goes through these wee patches of scoring goals. Son's the opposite for me. Anytime I've had him in my team, like he's banged them in for me. So I've always got this like wariness of Kane. I don't know. I don't think I would pick him over Haaland unless Haaland got some sort of injury or was looking to be like a rotation risk. I think Man City have just got the capability of ripping teams apart every week, whereas Spurs don't really. Like, Spurs are meant to be this team that's going to be challenging for the top 3-4 this season, and I just thought they looked pretty average against Chelsea. I know they got a point in the end, but they didn't look great. I kind of feel like Chelsea could have punished them if they come up against, or when they come up against Man City and Liverpool away. I just think teams like that can really expose them. I don't know if that's just, I don't know if it was just maybe the hoodoo that they played 4 times against Chelsea last season, didn't score against them, just didn't play that great. And a couple of decisions went their way and they got the point. But I don't know. I just, no is the answer. I wouldn't go Haaland to Kane, not just now, unless something happened and convinced me. Like, he could score a hat-trick against Wolves this weekend and I'd still think I would have the same stance. I'd still be like, I'm going to stick with Haaland. I just don't think I would want to rip my team out to get both of them in. I'd be quite happy with if I really want to get a Spurs asset in, which I might. Mason Mount is sort of on my to-go radar. So Kulusevski would be the one I would look for just to try and cover that, because I think he could get some good points this season. So, Kane's still not in my thinking. I regret bringing him in for game week 1. I'm still in a bad mood with him for that. Boo.
Yes, I was going to talk about that actually. Is that the first thing for me is keep faith with Haaland. I think he's gonna bang at some point, and the last thing you want to do is be on the wrong side of that fence. So, as we were quite happily able to show in the first game week one when we both had Kane, I do like Kane. I think like he seems to be the latter stages, and the later his career goes on, he does seem to kind of come back in the midfield a lot of the time and try and bring the ball forward and try and hook players and bring players up and stuff like that. I'm not his biggest fan. I'm actually a Son fan. Like I would 100% have Son before I had Kane all day long. And yeah, we talked about the kind of Haaland thing before about how we felt about it. But yeah, I think quite content just to leave him in. I think Man City's form coming up. Haaland will score goals. It's guaranteed. Like there's nothing surer. Especially with Kevin De Bruyne seemingly in good form at the minute. He is another player that I'd quite like to have in my team, even just to offset the Haaland when Haaland does kind of make a mess of it. But again, that would come at the expense of Salah, and the thought of going Salah-less at the minute is quite terrifying. Even if Liverpool aren't playing great, I can only see them, picking up surely over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's one of those ones that I was keen to know your thoughts on, and I should have known better after the game week one when he basically spun both of us.
The only thing I would add to it, I think could maybe happen over the next few weeks is once Champions League football starts, does Pep maybe tinker a little bit more? And if he leaves Haaland out the starting lineup for 1 week, that will start getting people's attention. Like, do I want to have 11.5 million invested in him when you could get Kane, who's going to play every single game, every single minute? If that sort of happens, maybe start thinking about it. And then you could go for Kane and then try and get in Foden or Mahrez or Grealish, whoever you think's holding down a place. But apart from something like that happening, I just can't see it. Like he's got to stay in the team for these fixtures at least.
It's worrying because of this season, my natural inclination at that point, if Haaland was getting dropped a lot, my natural inclination would not even to go to Kane. It would be to drop that money out of my, the forward line and put it in my midfield. But then that causes you problems because the moment that Haaland does something different, you want him back in. So luckily we've got wild cards to play with this season, which is a nice little seg onto what I want to talk about, which is wild cards. You think there's any problem with playing wild cards early? I mean, I really don't. I think a few people were talking about it, and I genuinely think that if you need to play it this season early enough, it's not that big a deal when compared to other seasons. Ideally, I wouldn't like to play it early, but I think if your team's like really bad, why not? What are you thinking?
Yeah, same man. I think I've played it as early as game week 3 in the past. I don't think I've gone in 2. But yeah, if you've got 2 or 3 players that you're just kind of struggling with, or more than that, then it's definitely justified. You don't want to be taking too many point hits. So for me, like I'd kind of like to get to between game week 6 and 8. If I go further than that, great. Hang on to it a little bit closer to that World Cup time. But I think 8's a good time to play it. There's a couple of teams sort of have their fixture swings around then. I feel like, is it Chelsea? Are they one that? No, definitely not. There's a couple of teams, I can't remember who, but that we maybe are invested in that you might want to sort of change up then. So yeah, I think if you're struggling just now and you're already chasing rank a little bit, you don't have some of the form players like Jesus, Martinelli, or I can't even think, but and some of these good defenders that are getting points, you've maybe just gone the wrong way. Then yeah, just shake it up. There's no problem with that at all. It's such a good feeling as well. Like, see if there's 2 players you want to get rid of, then you start looking for like a third. And like, oh well, Patterson could be Nico Williams, right? Okay, we'll do this and that, and all of a sudden you're playing your wild card, and it's just so much fun. Like, I love wild card moment. I love activating it and then having like 5 or 6 days just to muck about. So, I think for me, game week 6 or 8, one of the 2 of them is the international break. Always like playing a wild card then, because then you've got 2 weeks to really think about it. So you can just get more time. So yeah, there's no harm in playing it now if you're struggling.
Yeah, definitely. So just before we finish, thought we'd have a wee bit of fun. We were talking about this yesterday, it was the day before. And I'm keen to know your thoughts on it now. So we talked to, and I want people to give us comments and below and tell us what their final top 5 in the Premier League is going to be this season. So a wee bit of fun between me and you. Whoever gets closest, we'll maybe do a come back to this at the end of the season. Whoever loses can do a little maybe a little challenge or something. I don't know. We'll have fun with it. We'll work it out. We'll come up with that soon. But yeah, so I'm just going to start with mine, right? Because this is the one that just to wind Danny up, because I know he's going to be annoyed about it. But I think it's going to be Man City, obviously in first place. Liverpool still in second. It's definitely going to happen. And then I think it's going to be Arsenal, and then Spurs top 4 with Chelsea just finishing 5th. So that's my top 5. Danny, what say you?
I think no, just no. There's no way Chelsea are not finishing in the top 5, man. For top 4. We can talk about this end of the season, and if that happens, then you can take this exact bit and post it everywhere. No, I think I do see Arsenal, being a real contender for third. I think like Chelsea should be aiming for that third place. Like they've got the squad, they've got the depth, they've got the experience of playing in all these different competitions throughout the year. Whereas Arsenal, I feel like they're still transitioning. I feel like they're just a couple of injuries away from struggling. They don't have that depth, and that Spurs, I feel a little bit the same. They've got really good depth in some places, like their whole back 5. They do, but when Kane or Son gets injured, things just go a little bit haywire. Like I wouldn't trust Richarlison for like 6 or 7 weeks if one of them was injured. So I know Chelsea are a little bit light up top, but they make up for that, because when you look at like how many of their goals come from midfielders and defenders instead of straight up forwards, I think there's still plenty there. So trying not to put
Pin it down.
my blue glasses on, I still think
like,
Chelsea
no.
third. Right, okay, like Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs. It's just swapping a couple about right enough.
Interesting.
But,
all right,
Man United outside top 10.
I like it. I don't want to say Man United are getting relegated, but they could do. Leicester to get relegated, that's my big tip. Again, sorry to Leicester fans, I'm not picking on you. I just think this season they're in big trouble. All right, that's a perfect point to finish it off. If you can let us know below what your top 5 are going to be, what you think. If you think I'm talking rubbish, let me know. If you think Danny's got his blue tinted glasses on, let him know. But yeah, let us know. Good debate at the bottom. And thanks for joining us again. Hit subscribe, like, all that stuff, and yeah, follow us on Twitter. And yeah,
thanks for joining. Yeah, like you said, get involved, give us some comments. I'm also keen to see what people think is going to be the top goal scorer this year. I think that's a big debate we can talk about next week once we've got a little bit more insight. But it's not going to be straightforward at all. So there's probably about 10 players that could get into that. So it's a good shout to bring that into the conversation. So yeah, cheers for checking us out, and we'll see you soon.
Catch you later.
Cheers.